Is this a book? Obviously not. By definition, this is a video. But can it hold the same value as a book? By now you're probably tired of hearing that we live in a digital age, one that is constantly expanding the capabilities of computers and challenging the idea of what media should look like. We live in an era of trends, in constantly expanding ideas. One such idea is one on YouTube called the video essay. Usually longer than most videos on the site, the video essay is similar to an academic paper in the sense that it is defending a thesis through research and evidence. However, in academia, video essays are not considered academic work. We only hold value in the paper or the essay. I want to challenge the idea of where knowledge comes from. We're going to be looking at the staples of what make academic papers, including the usage of formal language, where it gets published, and how readers are meant to interact with the medium. And most importantly, we're going to be looking at how all of these limit what academics can look like. I'm going to say something, and you're going to have to trust me when I say it. How did that make you feel? If you're a student or a random viewer, it probably didn't have that much impact on you. Swearing is part of everyone's daily vocabulary. However, if you're a professor who just so happens to be grading me on everything coming out of my mouth, you might be a little taken aback by my crude choice of language. Almost every college or university has its own article on formal language and how to use it in papers. The University of Sydney's article reads, "Academic writing is generally quite formal, objective, impersonal, and technical. It is impersonal and objective by avoiding direct reference to people or feelings, and instead emphasizing objects, facts, and ideas." Academic writers usually use formal language to prove that they can be taken seriously, that their ideas are worthy of being looked at and studied. Formal language is also what students tend to struggle with the most when they first start schooling. Students often complain that papers are too convoluted due to the performative formality. See, I just did it right there, performative formality. Nobody talks like that. But when we use diction like this, we're trying to prove that we know what we're talking about. The issue is, when we use bigger terms like that jumble our speech, it makes it harder for people to understand what we're saying, particularly people who haven't had the opportunity to have formal schooling. Using floral language in essays risks shutting out people who aren't experts. We have to confront, who are these essays for? Are they only for experts in the field, or are they for everyone in order to learn more about the subject? We aren't only risking shutting out people who aren't experts or who haven't had formal education, we also risk shutting ourselves out. By removing our emotions and our feelings about the topic and the way we usually use language, we risk losing a part of ourselves and how we interact with our own topic of interest. Video essays allow users to swear and make jokes. It ends up lending itself to making the thesis more digestible to everyday viewers. However, the separation of YouTube as an informal space and academic publication as a formal one creates more barriers and controversy around credibility. The difference between an academic article and an entertainment article are plastered on every surface of every academic building on the planet. Scholars are very wary of making sure we know how to find the most up-to-date and accurate information possible, and with good reason. We can loop this back to being taken seriously. If your thesis is not based on the most accurate information possible, then it's not going to work and nobody's going to take you seriously. This is where academic journals come into play. Academic journals are publications of the latest findings in a given field. To be published, your work has to go through lots of fact-checkers and editors to make sure your paper is up to snuff. Journals are held to such high standards because publishers want to make sure only the most well-thought-out information gets seen. Platforms like YouTube don't have credentials before you upload a video. I could fully lie to you right now and YouTube would do nothing to stop me. It's not about factuality, it's about business. So no, YouTube videos are not going to be as credible as academic journals. However, YouTubers and content creators do have panels of editors and writers behind them. The only thing stopping them from being credible is themselves. If everybody who uploaded video essays got their work peer-reviewed again and again like you would with a normal essay, the validity of the work would go up. It's a lot harder to maintain credibility on a social media platform. But if creators are serious about their work, they can hold themselves to the same standards as normal essay writers. If video essay creators allowed themselves to work in the same vigorous process as traditional scholars do, then video essays could become more than just entertainment quality. They could be something so much more. The only thing standing in the way at that point is the physical medium it's in. There's an ongoing debate about audiobooks and whether or not they count as reading. As stated previously, this video is not a book, but I do think we can take some of the arguments from audiobooks in order to understand why videos are scorned in academia. The main argument that gets tossed around a lot is that reading and listening are two very fundamental different things. And I partially agree. Reading and listening are two, by definition, different actions. Where my opinion differs is that I think listening can be a form of reading. Just like formal language, I think this is an accessibility issue. What about the people who can't read either due to a lack of education or because of disability? While they might not be able to complete the literal action of reading, when we discredit the way they absorb knowledge differently, we exclude them from reading altogether and the ability to be scholars. I hear you asking, what about the people who can read but choose to listen instead? I was getting to that. God. In an article by Cody Comers in Psychology Today titled "Why Listening to a Book is Not the Same as Reading It," Comers defines a fundamental difference between listening and reading. Quote, "Reading is an act of engagement. If you're not actively taking in written information, then you're not going to make progress on the book. Audiobooks, on the other hand, make progress with or without your participation." This is a really good description of the difference between the two, but it does leave me with a lingering question. What does engagement look like? When I think of engaging with the text, I think of annotations, highlighting words, writing in the margins. You can't do those with audio and visual, but that doesn't mean you can't engage with them in a meaningful way. You might have noticed that at the beginning of this video, I put text over my coffee. It was a reference to Walter Benjamin's works of art in the era of its technological reproducibility. The title is exactly what it advertises, but I'm not going to tell you why I put that text there. You're going to have to go read the essay and find out for yourself. It's okay, I'll wait. Okay, done? Good. If you actually read Benjamin's essay, you'll understand that the coffee joke was extremely funny and that I deserve several awards for it. Reading the essay helps you understand the reference I was making and how it refers to the topic at hand. However, if you're like most people and you did not in fact read the essay, I hate you, and I will remain vague forever. When I refuse to tell you the context, I force you to put in the work to go find why I made that reference and why I put it where I did. Thus, I am encouraging you to put in the effort to understand what I'm saying. I'm forcing you to interact with this video in order to get the full grasp of the topic we are talking about. Comers is right. This video will continue playing whether or not you're paying attention. But if you really want to understand what's going on, you have to put in the effort. In all fairness, this is a different kind of engagement than you would with a book. But when we limit our definition of what engagement can look like, we discredit the effort that video creators put into their content, and most importantly, we discredit the viewer and their ability to look for more information. Academics are destined to fight about their theories and ideas forever. The unfortunate reality is we might not know the concrete answers to the theories we study in schools. Not everything is set in stone. one thing we can agree on is that we're really good at disagreeing. I mean, what really is a book? As long as debates about what knowledge is correct continue, we can guarantee that the vessel in which that knowledge is conveyed will also be contested. One video essay telling you that video essays are cool wasn't going to do anything. But that wasn't the purpose of this video. The purpose of this video was to actively get you to question whether or not this video was valid. If I wrote this as a paper, why would that mean more in academia than me talking to a camera? Technically, I did write a paper. All of my research is on paper, so why does me reading it out loud change anything? When we limit our idea of what academic research can look like, we risk shutting out entire communities of academics. This wasn't just about convincing you that YouTube was a good use of my degree, Mom. It's to show you that if we don't embrace emerging technologies, we make education less accessible. Everyone has a right to an education, no matter what form that education might take. We just have to be more open-minded about what it can look like. We as scholars, or even casual viewers, can change education to be more flexible for everyone, no matter their situation. We can change education for the better. Dr. McShane, please give me an A.